rap superstar from Atlanta who goes by the name of Gunna was released from jail on December 14th, 2022 after he entered into a plea deal. And even though the famous YSL RICO case that got him behind bars ended for him that day, wasn't the only thing that had ended. Namely, on the day that he decided to snitch on YSL, his music career had ended too. Even though Gunna and his legal team thought deeply about the legal consequences and intricacies of this plea deal, as well as all that would ensue upon leaving Fulton County Jail, little did they know that the vast majority of Gunna's fans would turn their back on him. The hip-hop community is a ruthless place, and no single artist could ever control it. There's no love for snitches in the rap game, and whoever talks the talk but doesn't walk the walk is not going to make it far in life. Gunna is a textbook example. Most of you know by now, Gunna, Young Thug, and several other Young Stoner Life, sometimes Young Slime Life, members were charged with violating the RICO Act of Georgia back in summer of 2022. In making their statement, the prosecutors made it their mission in life to put as much dirt as possible to every single member of YSL. From their perspective, these people are good for nothing, and they should all be locked up for good. It's no secret that they had targeted one of the members more than the other. That person is King Slime himself, Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug. Young Thug was pulling the strings in the YSL operations from the very beginning. And it's obvious to everyone who kept a close eye on this case that Thugger's the one whose prosecutors wanted to see wiped from the face of the earth.
Oh, baby. Say a prayer, I feel like I can't breathe. You left my heart aching. I'm torn apart, baby.
Gunna, who was always an associate and friend of Young Thug, simply happened to be there in the picture with him. Truthfully, even before YSL was deemed a criminal enterprise, not just a record label, most people believed that Gunna is a talented artist with a gift for creating music, not a crime mold.
Baby, but ringing out, I want a refund. Breaking up bed till I see the sun. I fucked the bitch on the jet.
Since Gunna made some dangerous friends, he moved along with them and followed their footsteps. That, however, put his name on a lot of police radars. Before you know it, he too was indicted, just like the 28 other YSL members. Given that the police didn't have too much to say about Gunna, nor did they throw any more charges to his name other than the RICO Act violation, most people suspected that he wouldn't be held in jail for too long. That turned out to be true.
Deal that set Gunna free, a major development in a huge racketeering case.
A couple months passed by and Gunna worked on his legal strategy for getting out of jail with his team of lawyers, alongside Steve Sadow and Don Samuel. From May to December, Gunna was behind bars, and then, all of a sudden, he simply walked out of jail. If you ask the fans, he got out by telling on some of his gang members and cooperating with police. One man commented on the situation and said he cut a deal and gave information. He is now a tool of the system to be used when they need it. Another person thought, yes, he admitted with his signature that YSL is a gang and record label. He also signed his signature to admitting that YSL committed crimes as a gang. He also pleaded guilty to his crimes within the gang/record label, period. It's virtually impossible to disagree with these comments. One does not simply walk out without making some sort of deal or giving some sort of confidential information. And truthfully, Gunna did say something to the entire courtroom. This is what he had to say when he was asked to testify as a part of his Alfred plea deal.
YSL is a music label and a gang, and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance of the gang.
Yes, ma'am.
You were present when law enforcement officers stopped a vehicle in which you were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocodone, methamphetamines, and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
This video sums up everything you need to know about Gunna and his fight with the judicial system. Two things stem from this video. One, Gunna confirmed that Young Slime Life is indeed a criminal gang, not just a record label. And perhaps more importantly, he not only confirmed that he was in the car with Young Thug when they got pulled over and arrested, but he also denied that any of the drugs and firearm were his. To put it in simple terms, he put his close friend, partner, and brother in jeopardy. He took out any semblance of a defense that Young Thug's lawyers could use during his trial. However, Gunna claimed shortly after his release that he did not cooperate with the police and he did not testify against anyone from YSL. If you ask him, he did absolutely nothing wrong. This is what Gunna's lawyer had to say to the press shortly upon being released from jail. While I have agreed to always be truthful, I want to make it perfectly clear that I have not made any statements, have not been interviewed, have not cooperated, have not agreed to testify or be a witness for or against any party in the case, and have absolutely no intention of being involved in the trial process in any way. The statement makes one thing clear: he tried very hard to make himself look as if if he did absolutely nothing wrong. And on one hand, an argument could be made that in fact he didn't do anything wrong. Think about it. He wanted to get out of the harsh and desolate conditions of his jail cell. He's an artist that has nothing to do with the crime. He didn't give out any names. He didn't even use more than 2 words in front of the court. One could say that Gunna did his very best given the circumstances. However, on the other hand, this is a form of snitching since he did confirm what the prosecutor suspected for a long time now. YSL is indeed a criminal organization that has to be dealt with, and Young Thug is the leader. No questions asked. The real answer to the question of whether or not Gunna really can be called a snitch is going to present itself only after Young Thug's trial finishes. Before we see if Gunna's name is called out or if his name appears on any of the papers, we can't confirm that Gunna is a snitch. For being objective, for now, he's innocent of that label. But even if he isn't a snitch, as so many artists and music fans out there are claiming so freely, one thing that not a lot of people are talking about is Gunna's future in the rap game. After all that's happened to this man in the last 2 months, is there really a chance that he could come back and still make music? It is a well-established fact about the hip-hop community. Snitching is simply not an option, and whoever did anything remotely close to cooperate with the police is going to go through hell one way or another.
The face Young Thug made when he found out his friends was snitching.
On the 29th is my understanding, so we would simply ask that any motions be heard after Mr. Steele and Mr. Williams and Mr. Adams experts.
There are many folks out there who truly believe that if you snitch once, you are never going to be looked at the same by the community. It is as if you are ostracized and your status cannot be redeemed in any way. How are you ever going to pick up the mic and make the same type of music that you made in the past? Most of Gunna's songs revolve around glorifying street life and showing resistance toward authority and the police. Now everyone knows what Gunna's saying doesn't hold any merit. It's just false info. Even if people know that other gangster rap artists out there who promote the same values as Gunna aren't really embedded into the street life as they want us to believe, it still won't be the same. Tony Yayo reminded us that if you go down the path that Gunna did, your career is over.
Because, I mean, in this business, if you turn into a rat, it's kind of like career's over.
Plenty of rappers shared Yayo's opinion on Gunna, and they too were disappointed. There were other possibilities for Gunna to take into consideration. Imagine being Gunna and making a rap album today. Who's going to pick up your phone and do a feature on it? Nobody who keeps the G code alive is going to take your call. You can count on that. Therefore, it's a legitimate question to ask whether or not Gunna completely ruined his music career on the day that he decided to take the plea deal. Yeah, he got his freedom, but he might have ended his career. Some, like Tony Yayo, speculate that Gunna could have kept his mouth shut and stayed in jail for whatever time they were planning to give him. Afterward, he'd come out as a free man and have the reputation along with it. Now, that's no longer an option. Gunna can't right his wrongs, and now there's very little that he can do about it. Lastly, the photo that got uploaded on Gunna's Instagram makes you wonder what's the future for Gunna in terms of his music. In the photo, he can be seen in his mansion, all alone, dressed in all black, caption that reads, "Something like they switch into a side, but it's only one side." And in some scary way, it makes you wonder whether Gunna basically attended the funeral for his own music career that had a lot of potential. But what y'all think about the future of Gunna's music? Is there a way that the hip-hop community moves on with the fact that Gunna turned his back on his brothers? We've seen it happen before, and it's not impossible, but does Gunna has what it takes to move on from such a big loss?